All right, guys, what is going on? It is the Chasing Waypoints podcast, and we are back for another episode. It is Friday afternoon. You guys are going to be listening to this on Sunday. But man, what a week going on. So if you guys haven't heard the last podcast about that vintage 1000, you got to get over and listen to that. It has been absolutely crazy. The inbox has been going off with a bunch of people looking to get into that vintage riding and doing all this kind of stuff. So it's actually really, really cool. I am surprised at how many people are into that and actually wanting to navigate. So I'm going to be seeing some vintage stuff coming up soon. I'm looking forward to working with the crew, trying to come up with something over here on the West Coast and do some more work. But anyway, this time around, we've got somebody special coming onto the show. That is going to be Chris from over at MotoMinded. If you guys are not familiar with them, they are making a bunch of handy products. It started with some 3D printed stuff and now all the way over to rally towers. So absolutely looking forward to this conversation. Talking to them. Should be in on the chat here in just a moment. But hope everybody is having a good week. Want to try and catch up with a few of the past guests and see what they are up to in the rally world. We got Sonora Rally coming up here a couple months, and then we've got Baja Rally, the 6-day event, coming up as well. I believe they got another 2 events also planning for that. So, should be a lot of fun. All right, looks like Chris is with us now. Give us just a sec. Let's get this music down. Chris, you there?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you all right, bud. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, excellent. Dude, so I was literally about to jump in the car and come home, and of course I'm checking social media, and Mason Klein posted a picture of the rally kit on his bike.
Yeah.
You guys have been working on, so that is kind of the topic of conversation, but I kind of want to know a little more about how you guys got started. I remember seeing a bunch of 3D printed stuff kind of starting out that way, right?
Well, the Rally Moto Kit actually started as a company before I started MotoMinded.
Okay.
Yeah, back in 2012, one of my best friends, Ned Cease, decided, hey, actually in 2011, he decided I'm going to do Dakar. And I happened to be around him and doing road books. And he was really helping us and a lot of our friends just get into and get that rally bug, Mm-hmm. And he'd put on events out in Utah and some in Colorado where he'd write some road books, and we'd all run around and get our head around it. And in parallel, I was building, kits for myself, and quickly realized, mounting this stuff to the bars is flat out dangerous when you start getting a little more advanced, Mm-hmm. And with that, I came one of the last events before Ned, officially announced. I showed up with a prototype that I was using and riding with that mounted to the frame, fully bolt on. This was 2010, I think, right around there, 2010. And by 11, he announced he's going to race it, Dakar in 2012. And we basically refined it and he said, I want to run your kit. Let's build a kit and let's build the bike together. So we did. We built a bike and took about a year riding and testing and getting ready. And all the while he's training and, doing his grassroots effort. It was pretty cool. We built, one and a spare, and he's the only, in 2012, he was the only American to finish Dakar on a bike. So that was pretty exciting. So we're like, okay, some demand here. Let's see if we sell these. So I started a company, Rally Moto Kit, in 2012, sold probably about 25 kits over a couple of years. I still had a 9-to-5 company. I had another company I owned that was, still like digital 3D based. But so the rally kit was nights and weekends, and it, was kind of like the ultimate little, get you kind of into rally or make a really nice lightweight dual sport bike or, use it for, and it kind of went from there. Sold it a couple years, again, nights and weekends. I was like, this is, it's just it was a test, we will, in the products world. I was in the services world and moving into products. I'm like, this is not good. It's killing all my nights and weekends. Everybody had some event or deadline, race, something that they're, shooting towards. So it was just crazy. It wasn't the right time. for me. So I shut it down and then in the parallel started MotoMinded. A couple of years later, I started MotoMinded. And that was, you're right, around a 3D printed product. It was the first product I did was fully 3D printed, and brought back the Rally Moto kit a few years ago. So like a 5-year break, I got away from building towers and doing that and got back into it. But in parallel, started up MotoMinded, did other products, got to know, the first product was a pillbox. So a 3D printed little holder that kind of held your basic essentials. And it's now kind of transformed into what we now sell today, which is our Moto Essentials kit, MEK for short. Kind of holds that, those essential little things on your bike or in your gear that you kind of need on a ride of some of these fuel injected European bikes. So there's a lot of parallels there and other, directions we went the stories, but that was kind of the start of, me getting into moto products was the Rally Moto Kit company. And then now it's a product under MotoMinded. Brought it back as a product.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, and I saw, let's see, it was a Sonora rally a couple of years ago. I think I'm pretty sure it was on Scott Bright's bike.
Scott Bright had a prototype. Yeah. Version 2 prototype. We developed together, just chasing super lightweight, and with others, you might have heard that prototype did not last the race. I was experimenting with bending some aluminum plates and things like that, and it just didn't work out. So I went back to the drawing board. That's part of it. You gotta, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And it was a lot of lessons learned in that one that he had, and gone forward in parallel. I've developed a really simple bar mount with him. He kind of went away from the fairing. He just wanted less weight. And together we developed, with his ideas and direction, we developed a really simple bar mounted one that kind of has three adjustment bowling points. We may launch it. It's more just a side project for him. If someone reaches out, we might do a run of 5 or something like that, but pretty specific to Scott's wishes. It's a really cool kit. It keeps, back to, if you're going to bar mount that and do the speeds that Scott's doing in a rally, you need to have it, that center of mass of all that equipment needs to be like as close to the steering pivot as you can. Otherwise it's going to make some dangerous pendulum effect. If you hit a bump and you got that weight cantilevered out 6 inches, you got some problems. So that with Scott, we ended up, instead of doing a full tower, I kept going the direction I'm doing with the Rally Moto kit with a full bolt-on tower. And then we also built this little minimal bar one that Scott's running today. Has room for, basically it puts all the components on the top of the roadbook holder. It's a mount that puts the 2 ICOs and the other, the device and the antennas all up on top. Nothing below the roadbook, where a lot of people split it, with some of the simpler mounting things. So again, pretty unique to his wishes, and I think it works out great. He's been liking it. So yeah. But the Rally Moto Kit itself is still, that it's a full, rally kit or dual sport kit. It's sold about 50-50. I think, it's about roughly 50-60% of our customers want to, put it on their bike and make a really lightweight dual sport bike, where the others are like, I'll start it as like a dual sport setup, but I definitely want to try rally. And it's built that way to convert it back and forth easily, as well as bolt on and off really fast and easy too. So it's neat. Yeah.
When you mean converted, is that something that from roadbook to GPS and other accessories, or?
Exactly. That's the primary thing, is the two differences. Roadbook, it still has the same lights. It still has the same, KTM. A lot of these bolt-on rally kits have the same KTM rally factory rally replica screen. We use the one that the design that started in 2020. So the latest one that they're still currently using, we're using that screen. The older one was dated. It's a look that a lot of others were using. I want to get away from that, and this screen performs much better. And we also reuse the air dam component below the screen. That literally does work. It does function to get air down in the radiators. So we're using that in conjunction with this clear screen And then the rest of it, yeah, it's kind of really, it's what your electronics are really what dictates it from dual sport or rally. Are you doing road book and the ICOs, or are you doing GPS mount, some other devices, things like that. So,
yeah, I'm looking at it on, there was actually somebody, I want to get him on the show because I hear he's a total bike nut, but you've got his pictures on the website with Robbie, I think it is.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing what you're talking about, the air dam. So, people listening in and not seeing this, and I'll post some links in the bottom, but so you've got the windscreen, and then just below it, you've got kind of these fins that spread out. So those are functional and getting air down into the radiators. Is that what?
They kind of aim it a little bit downward, and then with our little side panel connectors, if you choose to run those, they come with the kit. They basically connect, they're the lower part connecting to the bike. They're not structural. They're just more aesthetic. They also help a lot more capturing some of that wind and keep it from going up over the tank and downward into the radiators.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you guys, so you did both testing. I mean, obviously with that, you're getting air into the radiators, but you did mention something a minute ago about the windscreen.
Yeah.
I'm personally, I'm not a fan of the newer style, but I have a feeling that you've got some info that may change my mind. What did you guys notice in going from the older to the newer?
Less buffeting and really just less limiting. So where we position the screen with the generation before, the limit in the steering was handguards hitting the screen. So unless you trimmed them, you limited your turning radius. In a rally situation, no big deal. You're not making tight switchback turns, things like that. When in a rally situation, maybe in your practice you might. But I really wanted to keep, as much as the steering, as lock to lock as the best we can. And the goal for that is more, the guys doing the dual sporting, and my testing and riding. I ride, when I set this up, I'm riding single track. I'm doing everything with this bike. I'm trying to beat it up. I've hit whoops and everything myself, Mason Klein as well, one of our sponsored riders. Mm-hmm. And we're just putting them through the paces. And one of the things I really wanted was, more and more steering range. And we're only losing about 5 to 8 degrees, depending on your setup that you're running, handguards or towers. So the mechanics of the tower itself now really doesn't limit the steering hardly at all anymore for this last version that we had, this version 3. It's also a lighter screen because it's a more, I think the almost straight vertical shape of it tends to, compared to the previous version, which was much more sloped. It had a lower chin protruding out, and then it sloped back, and then it had a little lip at the top. Where, at the time, that was one of the best performing screens at the time. But the improvements they made on it, I don't know if they wind tunnel tested or what, but it just works better. Less buffeting, less and then blocking all that that wind, so less fatigue. Where a lot of the screens, that's the primary purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I noticed, I have the older generation style on my 790. Mm-hmm. And I do notice that buffeting, and I always kind of wonder, I go, well, there's a reason they probably went to this, and it sounds like it's, they were specifically targeting that. And it doesn't look like it's any taller than the previous stuff, right?
It's not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really close to the same height. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's just, and I get it to where I position it. I kind of have, if you jump on there, that Robbie one that we have on the website you're talking about, it's kind of we used it as great looking bike. So we asked, can we use that in our marketing? He goes, absolutely. I'm like, thank you. That thing's just great looking. And his has a tower on it. You can see his has got a really, what I call, a very traditional setting. If you're up on the pegs and you're glancing down at the roadway, that is kind of the position you want. And it also makes a very, I would say, safe and smooth cockpit. If you're the way you look and face at it, from devices on the bars, your roadbook holder, the ICOs, and then the top of the towers all in one plane. So you don't really have anything protruding out more than the other component. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and this does look, like I said, the profile and the angle of it, and at least from my experience, what I've seen is important. I've had, at Baja Rally, what was it, 2 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
Down in San Felipe, we had a couple riders. One notably, Ray Del Soglio. He hit a couple of times, hit his road book with the chin bar of the helmet.
Yep.
So they were struggling to keep the glass pieces together on it. But it was because it was a handlebar mounted kit, so it's up a lot closer.
Yeah.
So I could see that. Yeah. The safety aspect of, keeping this a little bit further away and then on the same plane.
Yeah. Yep. And it's, it's truly, and some guys use it when it's in the dual sport mode, it's kind of, a lot of the riders are sitting down and glancing at the GPS where, the road book mode is as it's kind of different. It's a different animal where, you're either racing or you're navigating. You're sitting down, memorize some tulips, maybe glancing down. The better, more advanced guys are able to glance down, memorize some tulips and mileage, and hammer on, and not look at that again for 5-6K. And do it like me, like 2.58, right turn 2.58, and just repeating that in your head as you're going. It's just,
yeah. Anything to not ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, right, and not blow the turn, which is I wouldn't say I'm famous for it, but I'm not. That's the one thing I need to work on is just it's just practice, as on this stuff. Is I still really love the grassroots aspect of it, and that's what this rally moto kit's about a lot. This is not a giant profit paying product for us. It's version 1 was definitely like, it was half hobby, just helping people get into the sport. And now we're at the point is like, okay, we've made some advances in our manufacturing and learned some lessons. And this is, what we feel is one of the best products out there as far as a bolt-on rally kit, and make it affordable as I can. I was trying to make it lightweight, affordable, and functional as I can, and try to hit as many of those check boxes as we can. But behind that, this is still a passion project. I still, its primary function still to me is to get people into rally. You could afford it as affordably as we can. Yeah, there's a bar mounted stuff. If you're trying out, you could jump on RMS website and find a ton of those, all inclusive. He does a good job of those bar mounted, the 2 beams coming out, roadbook holder, couple ICOs, you're rolling. That's a great beginner kit. But as you advance and you get some faster speeds, you should really be getting that weight off your bars. Mm-hmm. If you find out, this is something you want to invest more time and money in, and look at bolt-on kits like ours. Yeah. I think I get a kick out. Like Mason was really one of our first. Mason Klein, who's on his way to Dakar 2022, and we've been sponsoring him since he first got into rally. His dad, Larry Klein, approached us at one of the KTM adventure rallies a few years back, and at the time, Mason, he was about 2 foot shorter than he is now. And his dad's like, he's killing it at the he's SoCal Desert Racer kid. And he was at pro level, when he was like 16. And dad's like, I got to slow him down. I want to look at rally. and it may have slowed him down for a day because Mason's wicked smart and picked up the navigation so fast. And now he's, at Sonora a couple of years ago, he had some, I wasn't there that year, but I heard, a couple of years ago, he had a couple of issues, whether it be mechanically or electrically or whatever it was. But I mean, and it is still allowed him to keep riding, even though he didn't complete one of the days, but he was keeping up there. He was top 3-4 on those remaining days and just proving that he could ride and navigate. Yeah. And it's been exciting. That's part of, like I said, back to that grassroots. I'm really excited. And we knew all the way he's going to graduate to a real rally back someday, but until then he had all the tools he needed with our rally motor kit. So that was exciting. That was one of our best success stories we have.
Yeah. Well, and I know him and Skylar have been trading road books and working together and doing a lot. Mm-hmm. So, he's, the speed is there and the drive to do it, and obviously he's got that natural talent. I don't know what it is about both him and Skylar, because you can tell they can navigate, and they make it seem effortless. So
it really, it seems right. And there's challenges. You're out there at those practices and stuff like that. Everybody gets challenges. That's the idea is work on that stuff that you need to work on, but they're just. Get they have the base riding ability done. They're fast as a racer. Check, done. Let's move on. Let's work on navigation. Where you and I might be working on all of it, still working on riding fast, safe, and then adding the navigation to it. But it's truly a passion of mine. I absolutely love it, and love this part of the grassroots doing it. And actually, this will be the first place we announce. We're going to formally announce it next week, but this, I think this is going to air
Sunday,
a couple days. Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect then. We're going to announce that I'm going to donate $100 every rally moto kit sale to Mason's effort for 2022, and just continue to hopefully help him get to Dakar. Yeah,
that is awesome.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean and it's cool. I've known, I did not know about the rally moto kit before. I thought it started as MotoMinded. So, that support of the grassroots and really pushing and helping and doing that. So that's awesome. I mean, I'm sure Mason's going to appreciate it. He probably already knows, but I think it'll be, or if not, it'll be a surprise, but that's totally awesome. I mean, I know I just recently saw, I think he was doing t-shirts and stuff like that. And so,
Yep. The t-shirts he did for a while. Then I just pitched this the other day and just said, hey, how about, I chip in a portion of the sales to help your effort, at least it'd be a win-win, people see that, get some good PR and it's going to help him, again, we don't sell a ton of these, so it's not like he's getting some big fat check at the end, but every bit helps, as when you do these grassroots efforts. And it really helps. I mean, there's a lot of expenses, as you can imagine. I mean, just being around Ned's effort, I was there at the start, and this was when 2012 when it started and finished it started in Argentina. Mm-hmm. And all the ceremonies and everything were in Buenos Aires. So I was there for the start. We were patiently waiting the bike to arrive via the shipping container, flew down, waiting on the bike, and it came last minute, so last minute. And on that shipping container was, I think Jonas Street's bike was on at the time. Bill Conger's bike was in the ship. So everybody's waiting on their bikes, and Rally Pan Am's truck was in. I mean, it was just nuts that everybody's waiting on a shipping container to the last minute. And I helped everybody prep, so I handed it off to, the one mechanic was helping out Bill and Jonah and Ned, and I'm handing off the bike to Ned, or, to the mechanic at the time, and going through it. And my role was done. They went off. We had a rental car, and I dropped them off the first morning to go race, and I saw none of it. I saw none of the race. Hung out another couple of days and flew back. But it was neat. It was just so neat. It was basically a year of my life. And my wife says that today she was a rally widow for that year, just helping, we were just all helping Ned get to that start. It was a pretty exciting year. But it got to learn the cost. Circling back to that, the amount of time and cost is just unbelievable, to do that event, even at the privateer level. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Everything that I've, in the research and just digging and talking to different people and all that stuff, it's okay, Dakar 2022. This is the conversation in, fourth quarter of 2019, because it takes, or 2020, you take the whole year and then some to just be able to prep for it. I mean, it's whether it's financially, whether it's the bike, whether it's physically, whatever, it takes literally a whole year to do this, Baja 1000, couple months, whatever. But
yeah, right.
But it's kind of like you're stringing 6 of these together, and gonna race for the better part of a month, So it's it definitely I've learned a lot in over the different episodes and stuff. So it's about this. So what? So tell me a little bit about your have you done any kind of rallies? What have you participated in? What have you done? Road book wise and that kind of stuff on your end.
Yeah, I've done a lot of the the Rally Pan Am practices. Any other a lot of the sport, as is pretty underground. Especially in the U.S. So riding and sharing road books and doing that practicing, it's kind of, you got to get into that club, and really just doing the Rally Pan Am events, when they do the practice, things like that. That's really the best way to get. I recommend everybody start that way to kind of get your feet wet and just keep digging and keep networking and hearing about those events. So a lot of practices, I was riding a lot with Ned, in 2012 and really doing that. So he's off and doing Dakar. And then a few months later, Nora started, they'd been doing the Mexican 1000 as a vintage only race. Well, in 2012, they allowed modern bikes, and Scott Whitney helped, who you may or may not know, authors a lot of, he's like the grandfather of writing road books and stuff in North America. And they hired him to write some road books for the Mexican 1000 that year. So I was like, oh, and they did a road book only class, no GPS. So I'm like, I'm in. I've been writing and practicing with it, and got my head around it. I was like, I think I'm ready. So that was my first, and it's still, at the time it was still like a fun race, kind of each night was like, there's people partying it up each night, and just half vacation, half race, but it ended up being a race. Like a lot of us, kind of got at the end, these classes and stuff like that, where there's some modern bikes in there, everything from super enduros to bikes like mine. So I think, what was I on? It was a 500 at the time, XCW. And that was kind of the, kind of proved to myself I can do it. Those big miles. Navigation wasn't that challenging, like the stuff we were practicing, whether it be Scott Whitney's road books or the ones Ned wrote or other ones that we're, practicing on, that year prior, far more complicated, more challenging, and more that Dakar level, that Scott Whitney historically wrote road books for. So the navigation wasn't that challenging, but it was a lot of miles. So that was kind of mentally like, you get the points where you're just blasted as fast as that bike can go for hours and just going like, I'm kind of over this, and once it's done, and I can see, like, I hear the stories, like, especially the last couple of years of Saudi Arabia, like there's road books that, Andrew Short described, like they got it, like you rolled up road book paper was, maybe a diameter of a quarter for the whole day. And it was like, I forget how many, it was like 500K. Like, you're not making many turns. No. Something like that. If you have that many, it just burnt. I just couldn't imagine that day. Yeah. Just being on the bike that long at race pace, just
literally a travel day,
or liaison or whatever it is. Yeah, exactly. Those many miles just in a day. I was like, man, he almost did one day what, was half of my race,
Oh man.
Yeah. And I've done, I did the first Baja rally. And I think, what was that, 2014 or 15? It's all kind of blurring. All these, and then I've done I was lucky enough to last year do the Wyoming rally, which is, one of those little bit underground ones, more practice kind of thing, not a race, but, times are tracked. And, but really neat terrain, really, really neat. If you have the chance, go, if you get invited. Yeah, that's one I recommend. It's one of the coolest ones in North America. Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I like this underground thing, and because so you're just riding with a group of guys and you're just checking it out. And I was gonna say is that no matter where, what, how, if you get a bunch of guys together on a motorcycle, you put a road book in front of them, or you say you're even keeping time, or even if you're not, it's likely going to turn into a pissing contest.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just doesn't.
There's two guys.
It's good fun.
If there's two guys, two bikes, it's going to be a race.
It's going to be a race. Yeah. Whether you like, the pace is going to start picking up little by little by little. Yeah. Next thing you know, you're backing bikes into corners and
yeah.
Going.
And there's a whole grassroots of support. There's not just what the Rally Pan Am doing. There's a few of us that are trying to write road books for, some of our top competitors to practice. And we're, other than us, mentioning it here, we're keeping it pretty tight. I think in the future, maybe next year, they might be used for the Rally Pan Am courses, but we're working on some stuff that, the challenging things for like Braybeck and Short and those guys and Skylar and now, Mason is just getting enough miles to practice, and hit those things are challenging. Like there's some OAA challenges that they've been throwing. You heard about the navigation issues. If you let out, you're probably going to lose a half hour, right? On the Dakar last year. Yeah. So they're really taking down, they taken away that map and map man. And you discussed it on your podcast. People have discussed that a few times. I don't need to reiterate it, but there's some new challenges. You really got to navigate now. You just can't follow and rely on your map anymore. And I really love that. I think I love that it evens the field. And you just saw that, like, it was anybody's race for 3/4 of the Dakar last year or this year.
I completely, I blame that change, or I blame that situation specifically on that change. You know, the tires was one thing, but you know, everybody pretty much had their deal. Yeah. And
the tire roll is ridiculous. It was just their sad attempt. I'm sure there's like, they've always had, since they moved from Africa, they've had what's the driving issue? Insurance, getting insurance to race this thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure there's some pressure to, and obviously you want to keep the speeds down. You don't want people getting hurt. These bikes are getting, as discussed earlier in your podcast, lighter and faster every year. And what can they do? That tire thing was kind of they're pros. They're gonna give it 10,000%, whether that rule works or not for them. They're still gonna burn the tires.
Yeah. Hey, what's the red line on this bike? Yeah, it's a 10K. Yeah. Okay, I'll keep it at 9,999.
Hey, back it off for a second. Okay, now we're back on. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that just let it breathe every 30 to 45 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right, and it was in talking to Skylar about it. I thought, like, okay, this tire rule kind of makes sense to me. I see what they're trying to do. You have to be strategic about when you're going to go full send on these things, because you will burn through a 450 will burn through a set of tires very quickly. And it plays into that. But then after talking to him, I'm going, that's very true. The pace doesn't slow down. It's who's willing to risk more on a tire that's not gripping. And
ultimately you just hit it. What did they do? They made it more dangerous for the racers.
They did,
because they're still going to do it 100% on that crappy tire that's barely is going to be in the court soon.
Yeah,
they're going to run it till it falls apart. Well, you saw it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it's got to be. They got to come at it from a different way. Okay, the end goal is to slow everybody down. All right, so how are we going to do that? Like, are we going to I don't know, limit the top speed on the bike somehow, or, make something spec, I don't know. I mean, Formula One's been trying to do it forever. They made the cars narrower and they just went faster. So there's got to be something safer than that to do.
Yeah. And we don't have the answer. No. Hopefully they'll do it where it doesn't like ruin the sport or make it less interesting. But, the tire thing was like, okay, you're already limiting it to 450 and you're finding out, okay, technology wins, right? So they're going to make them lighter, faster.
Find a way.
It works. Yeah. Yeah. And, so I love rally.
Yeah. I do too. I mean, it's, the thing is the challenge. And that was like they roped it by doing what they did. They roped it all the way back into almost a grassroots level. And then I know that they're going to be going to digital road books, and everything is going to be, basically like, okay, I'm going to flip the switch. Okay, here's your road book. It's already colored for you. Good luck. We'll see you in 7,000 kilometers, and I see what they're doing and they're working towards that. And I think that it's going to make a big difference in the sport and even out the playing field like it did this year. But now it's going to turn into, well, what's the next thing that they're going to look? Because there's no way that there's no way KTM is just going to say like, it was we missed the podium twice. No big deal. No, they're in there doing their homework, trying to figure out how they're going to get that advantage again.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm stoked to see that, but more stoked that, that there is more stuff going on here in the States for that rally, and practicing that stuff. If you guys are doing road books, or if I hear, there's road book stuff coming and going and back and forth, the rumblings are getting bigger and bigger little by little.
Yeah.
And, I'm all for it. But what, so I mean, for you, like, what was your very first like road book? And was there anything like when you were getting started that now that you wish you knew then?
I don't think, no, it hasn't changed much from that. Like my very first road book, I remember Ned wrote it and it was handwritten, and we made Xerox copies in the middle of the desert or attempted to make Xerox copies in the middle of the desert in Utah, and they're handwritten and then Xerox, pre-run, you drafted them, wrote them, made some changes, made copies right there in the desert. And that, from that to what I ride today, I nothing really, no regrets. I know nothing that really need to do. It just keeps, it's just keep refining, I mean, have you ridden some road book stuff, or is it mainly desert? I know you have a history of desert racing and being around that a lot, but how about road books?
I haven't sat behind a road book long enough. I've only done really basic stuff.
So the one thing that kind of sets some people apart pretty quickly once you start getting your head around, it's not just you got to get your head around whoever authors that road book. Mm-hmm. So in the case of Dakar, they keep it a pretty good standard. You're not trying to get into, for example, Scott Whitney's head or Scott Bright's head or Ned's or whoever's you're riding, Jimmy Lewis. He's doing a great job helping out our U.S. guys, really do the training and stuff like that. And part of that is, you're trying to get in their head of like, oh, okay, is he tricking? Is this trick coming up here? Is this, if you're dead on accurate and you're following accurately, you don't have to, kind of sometimes flows a lot. But one thing that people seem to catch on faster, and it seemed like maybe Mason and Skylar and those guys really got in their head faster than I still working on it, is, that next tulip says, in another 15.2K, you're going to have, there's a T intersection, or it turns into single track, and you got to find this faint single track going off to the right. Mm-hmm. Where in that horizon, as I look beyond that road book and look ahead in the trail and aka dirt road or whatever it is in front of me, where's that 3 point whatever K, in my horizon? And how do I get used to, usually I really get it in my head. It's back in practice by the end of that road book. I was like, I got this. Oh, there's 2K out there. I kind of just, pick that spot on the horizon or wherever it may be, whether you're in the dunes or whatever. It's like, okay, 2K is about there. And I'm able to eyeball that quickly and not blow past it and start slowing down and look for it before it's, 1K behind you or half a K behind you. And getting that in your head, I think, is one of the things that really being able to practice that and hit those marks a little better really seems to, your performance goes up and you get to that point of those, aliens, as we call them, those really fast guys that are top ones that really just, it all comes together to them, and they practice them enough, where us amateurs here are mere mortals are, constantly not just trying to interpret what that is. And that is that turn, that's tilted 45 degrees. Is that road really spilling out 45, or is the next one that's a half, 0.1K up here?
Mm-hmm. Is it that one?
Yeah. Is it that one? And that's some of the tricks that, Whitney did it. They all do it. You want to practice it as, being dead on your mileage is, it might say, here's a left turn, and it might be a 90 degree, turn intersection. And you're going to turn right here, and maybe 0.1K is another one, and the one that you chose is not the right one, and it meanders off, and you've gone 3K to figure out your error and turn around, where the one just, 0.1K back was actually the one you wanted. It headed to the southwest, and this one headed to the northwest. Yeah. And really just, I love that part of it, where you and I might not be the fastest guy out there on the bike, but if you can navigate well, you kind of, it levels the playing field a little bit. Yeah. And that's where I geek out, and it keeps bringing me back. Keep practicing and getting into it. I love riding the road books, and now I'm really getting into the creation and really watching the digital side of it, where here soon we're going to be working on a mount for the digital. Basically, they're going to be tablets for us for a while, until there's some standardization that we're, us will maybe someday be able to buy. But for a long time, it's going to be like, what are you running? You're on an iPad or an Android or this device or that device. So the one I'm trying to, I'm trying to watch everything out there and try to pick the most universal and then adapt, probably the top two most universal or ubiquitous, or who's using what, and kind of make our tower adapt to that. So I'm kind of an Android guy, and there's a Rally Navigator makes a great app for it. I've been practicing that. So Samsung makes a very affordable, very robust tablet. Mm-hmm. That I'm going to make a mount adapt to it. It's an Active 2. I think it is Galaxy Active 2. Yeah. And I've seen it a lot. I've seen it in Europe a lot, people using it. So I'm like, okay, this thing has some legs, a little Bluetooth or wired, or, we're working on, actually Mason's helping me a little bit with, do we do Bluetooth or wired or something like that? Mm-hmm. Or work with Rally Blitz guys to see if we could adapt their hardware, which is kind of where it's at in our world. Is what devices are we putting on these towers or roadbooks? Right now it's paper. It's going to be paper for a long time, but we really got to follow the digital stuff and keep on it. So and it is in one way it's simpler. I still have a really tough time getting my head around. There's not much. It's hard to make it redundant. Where with the paper road books, you had extra you had extra tape. If it tears, if you wipe out, something happens. You could bend it, form it back. It's very analog, right? And you could repair it out in the middle of nowhere with some tape or some more Sharpies or whatever it may be. You can fix out
some duct tape, whatever.
Bluetooth fails. Tablet, you smash your face into your helmet, the chin of your helmet into the tablet. Unless you have one in your backpack, as a backup, you're kind of done. Your ride's done. And I have an issue with that. And especially there's going to be some challenges. I think we'll get around them. But for a while, there's going to be this big limbo period. Do we adapt something? And this grassroots part, us practicing, us grassroots guys that want to help, the fast guys, what do we adapt to, and kind of follow that.
Yeah,
I'm not the leader of this. I'm just going to follow it. Yeah. And we'll just make sure whatever is a popular direction. Okay, we'll make sure it adapts to our kit.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I've seen a couple of people running the Android setup, and with what Rally Navigator did, I think they've created a really unique product, even for building road books too. Being able to basically build a road book as you ride. Right then and there, being able to do notes and stuff like that, I think is absolutely huge. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be Android, and it's going to be it's going to be really interesting to see these guys in Dakar. How that progresses. 'Cause I know it's called the Tower One. I think you're right. Yeah, I saw a video of KTM. And it was, I think they were doing like something with Toby and the guys, and they were like at one of the factories. And I don't know that they realized or whatever, but in the background, you could see them already had the tower, and they had a tablet on it that looked like the Tower One. So they're already designing this. So we know for sure that this is coming, but how big, like, is it going to be a 2022 thing, or is it going to be, 2023 or what they're...
Right, because they're definitely using and testing one of the cars in the truck. So I don't even know if they were in the buggies or quads, but definitely not on bikes. Bikes are right. They were pre-marked paper last year, and the pre-marking obviously was good. In some ways, it was good. You can see some I forget who it was. There's a bunch of videos. Seeing people just taking a red highlighter and just highlighting dangers. Putting their own touch on it while they're loading. You got minutes to get this thing in. Yeah. There's no studying of it. There's no seeing. There's no reverse engineering of it, which is great one way. But the other is, you need to really trust the people. Where that's one of the things you just learned all these years of marking the road book is you put your flavor on it. What to me, I always put an indicator if there's a turn going up to the left, if there's going to be an intersection to the left or turn to the left. I mark that left side of that paper a little bit more in my way. And you see these other tricks that other people do, and you adapt some and you make up your own. And not be able to do that was kind of like, whoa. And now digital, there's no way you can't put any of your marks on it. You can't put that red highlighter at the last second. That's going to be interesting. Like you said, it does level the playing field in that way. But in the other, it's like, is it really safer? I guess, the guys are going to adapt. They will adapt. Does it make it more fair? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think they're gonna have to work on a standard, and so they're all operating on the same wavelength as far as like, okay, we're gonna put triple dangers or whatever. We're just gonna mark the whole box red, or something. I'm sure that'll be liquid or fluid, and moving back around. So, but. I think you kind of mentioned earlier too, is paper's not going to go away. It's going to be a long time before paper goes away.
Definitely for us in the grassroots. Yeah. It's there's a system to it. Yeah. It's very analog. It's time consuming, but it's very affordable, right? Let's go back to that thing. I want to get into rally just for fun. The cost of that, not just the equipment cost, but the travel, all these guys that come to like the Rally Pan Am free events, they're coming from all over the country. This guy's coming from East Coast and all this, and just the cost of taking that much time off,
Mm-hmm.
and let alone all the stuff you bolted on your bike and the time that you're doing it. And then I'm seeing the cost too, where I'm trying to write these road books for others. And wow, I've had a few trips just to do this, just to practice. We write them on the sat. You sketch them basically on the satellite first,
Mm-hmm.
and then you kind of run these tracks, or you get tracks from someone and kind of make your own tracks, and then bring that into Rally Navigator. There's a couple ways to kind of start from idea to the first draft of your rally road book.
Mm-hmm.
Just the time in that is just, you could spit one out. You could go, yeah. That's kind of the first one I did way back, was like, just here's a route I like, and I want to share that with my friends. So I'm gonna make a road book with it. And so I knew it well. I had it memorized. Basically I knew every little, every foot of that route and did it. But the time in that was still a lot in it, and then you go to share it, and hopefully everybody else enjoys it and rides it, and do they have the time to do it? It's just kind of, it's an expensive sport for sure. And that's why I like kind of the, what we're doing is kind of helping those people get in, to the start of it. It's kind of help.
Yeah.
Every little bit helps, right? Because it's, like I said, it's expensive.
Yeah. And like anything else, like it's the investment of the equipment, like you're saying. You're still going to pay for the equipment. You're still going to pay to build a bike. And then you're going to pay to travel. But I think you have to be passionate about it, but then at the same time, you got to think like, okay, I am signing up for this adventure. I may never line up at the Dakar, but I'm developing a skill set that if I won the lottery next year, and I just had stupid money to throw away, I could rent a bike, fly out there, and I have the skill set to at least be able to navigate. May not meet all the requirements. They may not even let you line up, but it's good to dream.
Right.
But I see that in talking to you too about just the travel aspect of it and seeing different places where, I don't know if you can divulge, but like, where are you guys doing road books? Where have you gone to do road books here in the States?
It's a lot, the easiest place to ride them and get away, because you want to be out there, even I don't even like seeing people that are in the same practice event. It drives me insane if I see someone else in front of me, or I know someone's behind me. Because you get in that little game, is he going the right way? Am I going the wrong way? And you just tell you, did I do something? Did I miss a turn? And you see some dust cloud out in the distance. And like, he's way over there. What did I do? And just not seeing and just concentrating on my own ride is really what I try to focus on. So in doing that, and to be able to get that really remote and do those big miles and not be in a popular weekend location, you're in the desert. Mm-hmm. You're in the desert. And, it's California desert, Utah, Arizona, Nevada, kind of that area right there are the popular ones. There are some road books that Rally Pan Am used last year that are in Colorado area, goes into Utah a little bit, but desert again. It was far west Colorado. And there's one, it just, that seems to be the best area, just ease of use, tracks, and then you just, to be able to get out there and isolate, not be around, not be riding through a popular riding area where you might get, meet up with someone or, a line of Jeeps or something like that. Because as we know, just in this COVID time, we were seeing it at the last Rally Pan Am. I was like, oh man, we have to go through that area. It might be a little crowded. And there was literally a traffic jam in the dirt because so many people are out camping. It was like it was a bit ridiculous. So getting out and away seems to be the easiest way is the desert. Yeah. And it turns out, as we saw, like where Brayback and Short and Skylar, all of them are practicing, is a very similar terrain to what they're racing in Dakar. If you bring it to that level, just, that's, kind of the high bar of the sport is Dakar, and it's in that desert area now. And we have plenty of, wide open desert here to practice and ride and stuff like that. So, and even the Yellowstone Rally, Wyoming Rally is, I was calling it earlier, was technically Yellowstone in that area is, nothingness desert. Like I didn't see a tree for a long time. It's pretty remote out there. And I was surprised it was neat terrain. And then, if you go do some road books with Jimmy Lewis, and get in some of his programs and training and things like that, he's out there in the desert, in the middle of nowhere desert too. So, that's it. Desert. Short answer.
Just find a desert and go make circles in it.
Find a desert, make some tracks. Yeah.
And it really is that basic, because the idea, I mean, like I'm really good, I think, with the concept of it, and I've seen it. Like I've seen when I was with Baja Rally and the time there, that the road book side of it and building road books and delving into it, and I did none of it, and it was all Scotty. I mean, it was one of those things, like he would go ride and get lost on his XR650, and all we had was the bleep on the radar from his spot tracker, and then all of a sudden we'd get this random communication from him about this bitch and wash or this thing that he found, and then comes back and then locks himself basically in his office for 48 hours. Nobody knows of him, and then next thing you know, there's a full road book ready. Yeah, and it's like, it takes the writing of it, but then it takes the time to lay it out and draw it up and do all of these things to get it to a pro level. But like what you were talking about earlier, if you guys were just Xeroxing them in the desert, it doesn't, getting started, it doesn't matter. You don't need that like super fancy road book. You just need some arrows and some distances.
And I think that's back to the technology. I think that's some of the attractiveness of the digital. It's easier to get to that idea, to your first track to try, your first road book to do if it's digital. To me, the way it is now with Rally Light Navigator is really my favorite right now, and it seems to be, there's a bit of a movement in the grassroots that people are navigating. They've done some really nice upgrades lately, and I know the team. I've known the team behind it for so long, and those guys are just wicked smart. Not just with writing, creating the tools to do it, but they've been in the rally world for a very long time and know what they're doing. And it's just exciting to see that. Yeah, you could throw, and I've seen them too, where there's some road books that are just thrown in. It's like, follow that desert, go around here. Where I've noticed the time is, and where I've been taught and ridden the road books, other people, is like, I want to take you to an interesting feature, an interesting thing to ride, like this, get you through this epic wash. And that's some of the exciting things of some of these practice road books, is like, you look ahead and you see wash, and the next exit is like 4 miles. I'm like, 4 miles of a wash? It's just, woo, this is going to be awesome. And then the other is like, I like to get people up on a beautiful view, and then also throw the challenges in between. The overall is like, look at the terrain overall. Is this going to be a cool view, cool loop? Can I get up on this ledge, on this peak or something like that? What can I do? Then you connect the dots in between. Then you find the challenging, if I throw in that term. And some of that is found, when you're riding or pre-riding, stuff like that. You just find, like, you come over a little hill or something like that, and there's this little trail. You stop for a drink and a photo, and you turn around. It's like, that trail turns right back there. I didn't even see it. And they're like, that's going to be in my road book. That's going to be one. Everybody's going to blow that one. That'll be challenging. So
you
it's just put it back to, And to me, it's like, it's a lot to do a quality road book. It takes so much time.
And I think that the biggest one, like from what I've noticed and you're saying, is actually riding them. It's one thing to do them in the map and doing all that stuff. And there's guys that do that they're halfway across the world, and hey, I need a road book, and 48 hours later, here's this road book that's within a tenth in a place they have never ridden. So there's people that have dedicated, and those are the map men. Those are the ones
Yeah. So the map men are reverse. They're reverse engineering. They too do not. They're doing it totally remote. They do not. There's no boots on the ground. They're doing it all from satellite pictures or maps or whatever their tools are. But the one thing that doing it, you have to ride it. You have to do it because there's so many things. Like I found the hard way. Those barbed wire fences do not show up on satellite. No. You got to ride this stuff and make it safe for whoever you're going to share this with. Whether it be a 5 mile loop around your neighborhood or something out in the middle of nowhere desert that, maybe your buddy's really fast, and I want to make sure that, no one's going to get hurt. So you got to pre-ride these things to find those gotchas on the ground. It has to be done. And it's always, every time I've done it, it's like you found a new, interesting alternative route. Like, that looked cool from satellite. This is boring as hell. If I go over here, this is really, really cool. Or that's that little challenging turn, you notice and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that on in talking with Dave. He's one of the guys that helps the Honda team. And it was a very specific thing that he said, and it really stood out to me about how important it was for the road books to be safe for him. And that was the whole thing, is like, he understands and knows that he's been around racing for so long that he understands the speed. And that's something you mentioned earlier, is like, even with Dakar and with different people writing the road books and what could lead to it, is like, who did you have writing that road book on that day? And what level of talent do they have that they are going to be able to see, well, hey, I only made it over this rise and landed here, but, you know, any one of the factory KTM guys is probably going to land at the bottom of this hill, you know, because they're going to be carrying so much speed. So there's so many more aspects to it. But for what we're doing, I mean, it's like, you know what, let's just get out and ride.
Yeah.
You know.
There's a guy, this is a good segue into a guy like, you know, getting something safe and getting into it and doing all the right things to make sure everybody's safe. And there's a guy that's doing the first ever COTA rally, COTAH rally. You can find online.
Okay.
I think there's still some entries. First time ever. He's been working on this. This will be the first legal rally, roadbook rally in the U.S.
Okay.
That's not underground. And he has spent years working with county, towns, the BLM, the National Forest, everybody, and got it all approved.
Wow.
And got it now there's some speed limit. There's everywhere has speed limits.
That's
so
right.
it's like, I think someone like Mason might not be, you know, it'd be very difficult to do those speed limits, you know, when it was a really easy road and you could see it for 3 miles, and boy, I can't go faster than, you know, 40 in this section, or so whatever that limit is. It's in there. It's one of the, but that's what he had to do to make this happen in the U.S. and make it official and safe. And he's going to do it Malimoto style. So you have to make sure everything fits. He has all these specifications. He bought the bins. All your stuff for these days, I think it's 5 days, has to be in those bins.
Yeah.
You could travel outside the bivouac. You know, he's got some rules and stuff like that. There's other things like it's because it's on, you know, where some guys might not go, well, maybe this isn't the rally for me. You have to have DOT. It has to be DOT tires. You can't, and tubes, you can't run mooses because they're not DOT. Gotcha. So those rules, if you're willing to follow those rules, you'll have a really cool, epic rally. He's been working on this for years. I'm really excited. I look forward to being able to, I think I'm going to be able to help him pre-ride some stuff right before the event and make sure, you know, things haven't changed, or this rainstorm didn't create a new wash, or, you know, things like that, and help others. I think this is a good beginner rally.
Yeah.
If you're, you know, you like dual sport riding, you think you might get into this, I think this is the one you should seriously look at, is the COTA rally, COTAH. Really cool.
COTAH. Yeah. Definitely going to check that out, because it's, and the speed limits is something I think that a lot of, I don't know how to say, I only go back to my rally experience as when I was RD for race director for Baja Rally. Speed zones are not like, for some people, I got to go through a speed zone. But you're right. Sometimes that's what it takes to be able to go through this rancher's land or through this city. Or
you're going through a little town or community. Yeah. The Baja Rally had a lot of, any racing in Baja, you have those. Well, something like the Noras or the Baja Rallies, they have you're going through this rancher's property, this thing, and you're going up right next to their house.
Yeah.
So you have to have these spin limits in it and have these, and it's a short little while, it might be a quarter mile, might be a mile. And you have these little speed limits where I think in COTA, the whole rally has a speed limit at some point. There's some limit to your speed throughout from start to finish throughout the day.
And that's, to me, I always saw it as that is just one more place where you could win the rally and you can make up time because
you're going to get, and they're recording and watching it. So they're going to be able to tell if you're speeding.
Yeah.
And not only that, if you don't get kicked out because you're being an ass and
besides that part,
but if you get it, you're going to get big penalties. And the guy who's able to follow that is not going to do it. And accurate, I have some friends that they get a kick out of it. And they have the most accurate mileage. They don't blow one turn. Mm-hmm. They don't often win. They're not the fastest guy, but they're most accurate.
Yeah.
They did not go one extra 1/10 of a kilometer in this rally. From what that author said, it is this many miles. They did that many miles. Didn't win, and that's that's sometimes what it takes. And I think really as a beginner, that's where you're really hooked on. Not so much the speed you're hooked on. Yeah. Here comes a turn. Here it is. I got it. Okay, turn. Next one. Advance and to be able to practice that. I think a lot of people are going to have fun at this COTA rally.
Yeah.
Not for the fastest pro guys, but definitely for the beginners.
No, but for the beginners, yeah. And just to go get lost for a little while,
Yeah.
And then find the bivouac, and, hopefully when you get to the end of the road, it's where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. I think the bivouac's going to be Montrose area, and then looping out into Utah up north to, I don't think it goes all the way down. So it goes pretty far north. Nice. And it's some epic, beautiful terrain out there.
Nice. Yeah, but definitely, I'm going to have to just start doing some digging and some research on that one, and see if we can maybe chat with him.
Yeah.
Or them.
This fall.
Yeah. It's, I mean, we need those events, and we need those kind of things here.
Yes.
If we want to see the sport grow, regardless of there being a speed limit or certain things that don't make it as authentic, but just the fact that you can go out and run road books.
Yeah.
I think all the pro guys in Europe, they don't have Baja races like we do with arrows and stuff like that. They do, but it's like what rally is here. It's very limited. Yes. There's not as many of them. Everything over there is road books. So
road books and tighter trail stuff. I've seen a lot. Like there's a couple of good videos of like, what is a road book? And I've shared it with people. And it's a guy running, I think it was in Italy or Greece. It looks like it anyway to me. Mm-hmm. Speaking some language I can't speak, but he does a really good job of overlaying the road book on it and showing you and seeing it. And I bet you all of us have shared it or watched it. And it's just, tight, neat, fun ride terrain, but it really helps you get your head around what is riding like this to follow the road book. And it's pretty neat. And seeing the European style with, just the terrain they have and the stuff they have, they don't have a lot of wide open deserts. They don't have a lot of BLM land, things like that, or it may be any. And, just how do you do that? And it's popular as hell over there. It's like soccer over there. It's the same equivalent, like the biggest motorsports race in the world. Very few Americans knows what it is. And if a handful of us goofballs, what do you think? Maybe 60 of us, passionate goofballs know about this, and it's growing every year. Like it's been pretty exciting to see, like, not just our rally kit sales, people that are like, oh, I want this car style look, and they go for our deal, even though they'll never put a road book on it. They just like that look to Braybeck winning, and just all these Americans like, oh, wait, what? He won what? What is that race? And just have an American win for the first time just is so exciting. Help build, again, back to what you said, build that sport. And with the grassroots and Americans doing well and seeing this style of lightweight rally, turns out, rally race bikes are the ultimate dual sport bike, right? They're dependable. You got windbreak, you got all the stuff. You can put all your navigation equipment on it. And turns out, this movement that we have, that we feel you have the ultimate lightweight dual sport, if you built on our kit.
Yeah. You get the mileage, the range and all that stuff. And it's like more people are getting out and exploring, and this is kind of the way to do it. But, for the ones that said that I will never buy a BMW because I don't need heated grips and I want to go do more off-road, these bikes I think are really, really growing quickly.
And if you're that goofball like me and go, well, there's a single track over there, I want to hit that too. Would you hit that on your big GS? No. But could you? I guess. Would you not have fun? No. You're still going to have fun with this. Yeah. So
everybody's like, oh no, the bike feels really light. Until you're doing 0 miles an hour, and then it is 650 pounds.
Right.
Yeah. And I will say, but I will give the GS guys credit. The 1200 GS in the hands of a proper rider in Baja is actually hard to catch. How long the suspension's going to last? Yeah.
Right. There's some components. The weight sometimes catches up. Physics kind of play a role after time.
Always there to remind you.
But there's always a talented guy that's going to get it going. I mean, you see some of the stuff where, Jimmy Lewis racing at HP. And that's some epic stuff there. I mean, that's basically a slim down GS, same motor, same frame, pretty similar. Just exciting to see that stuff. And I really see the movement, especially like you ask guys like Spurgo at Takamoto Co. The huge growth that he's had focusing on the 500s as this is what I'm going to sell the best accessories around these bikes, and I'm going to focus just on these. And that movement of people going like, this is one excellent, these 500cc lightweight dirt bikes, you add a couple components to them, they're go anywhere bikes, and can still travel on the, long, boring high-speed dirt roads. Still going to be fine.
Yeah, you're not wringing its neck.
Exactly. They've really come a long way. And then that, you could always spend a lot of money on suspension, get some quality suspension, like, our buddy, Alex at Conflict. I run his stuff. I can't believe how nice it is. But anyway, plug on that. But, some of these are coming out of the box, ready to do stuff. And you always have that, possibility to throw accessories on it. And that's the market we're in. And we're always happy to help people with that. But just having that platform of the 500 cc's, the 450s, 350s, and be able to, like I said, again, bolt on a few things and go anywhere. I think people are really, really starting to get behind that and go, yeah, sure. I have I just bought 950 Super Enduro. And I got to take that on stuff. That's got a specific tool purpose that I'm going to, use that tool in. And a little 300 is another tool, but that 500 really does a lot of overlap and bolt on a rally tower or just, minimal screen, like all the stuff at RMS. You've got a really capable bike, whether you're doing road books or just trail riding or exploring. Yeah. It's a pretty exciting time right now, especially with the technology of these bikes lately.
Yeah, exactly. They've made, and the fact like that the recipe has been really pretty much the same for a while now. The 500 being longer in the tooth, that basic. Now, yeah, it's the forks and the suspension and the kits, your rally kit, the tanks, all of that stuff has just come along to suit that, 790 changed it. I think the 790 brought the guys that wish they were riding a little, a more dirt capable bike, but they were already in adventure bikes. And then maybe some of the guys that have graduated from the 500s to wanted to do something more miles on the road, that kind of thing. I mean, it serves its purpose, but I don't think the 500 itself will ever be like replaced. Because even the 690, right? The 690, the ladder frame on the 690 and the way that they're designed is based kind of like on the first KTM bikes. The rally bikes were the 690 and larger, but then they put, they put the 450 motor in it when they changed the rules into a 690.
Yeah, they basically took the 690 rally, the 690 trellis frame, longer swing arm, just a longer, more stable, high-speed bike, and just threw that high-strung 450 in there. And I think someone will probably correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think the transmission was out of the quad at the time, like a hybrid components of the transmission of that 450 was out of the quad at the time. And now it's, it's definitely graduated beyond that, even lighter, powerful. But just, seeing that progression from the 950s to the 690s and then, 690 really starting that, the 690 you buy today or 701 you buy today definitely has, you can see the DNA from rally and that trellis frame and the swing. I mean, it's very, very similar. Just slap some big tanks on it. You basically had the rally bike of, when they were back in Africa. Yeah. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. But, the only problem now is tanks. Okay. That's $3,000 and then fuel pumps. And then, you start, the bill gets large quickly.
It goes crazy. Yeah. And you're on a 790, right? With the tower.
Yeah, 790.
I love that. I jumped on that bike right when I was launching for two things. One, I wanted to develop products around it. Two, I wanted that bike. Just all of it. And talking with, I'm lucky enough to be able to, talk to people like Quinn Cody and knowing what he developed, his touch of the suspension tuning and everything on it. That bike out of the box is some of the best handling and best chassis of a big bike I've ever ridden. I've ridden all, like I said, Super Enduros and the Adventures and all that stuff. I've been on GSs and wow, that and to me the biggest factor are those low tanks, that low center of gravity. I described that bike as being flickable. That big bike, I was like, this thing is flickable with this weight down low.
I rode so a buddy of mine, I don't know, Travis Brock from Every Single Sunday. We went out on a ride up to Big Bear and he had gotten his and had just started working on it. He goes, here. I go, and I feel like this is going to be a really expensive ride.
It usually is, right? Like
it usually is.
First one's free. Yeah.
And you're right. The very first thing I noticed, I'm going, there's no bike here. Where's the bike? I mean, you literally, you think about it, and the bike was into the corner in a very linear way. So I was like, I was on my 850, and I was used to my 850. I was like, hey, it's an 850. I can ride it. It's quote unquote lighter and more nimble than the 800 GS that I had because it had more power. But the 790 was just so different. And then the first time I remember touching dirt with the 790. It's like not even a mile in, and I was like, "Oh, this thing is different." This bike, this is exactly what you said. The chassis, the suspension, like anytime I hit anything on the 850 GS, it was like, "Oop, this is gonna hurt." And and on the 790, it wasn't that way. It was completely different. Like, oh, wow, this actually absorbed it. So I'm actually in T-minus a week from today. I'll be in Alex's shop.
Nice.
We'll be working on the suspension on my bike, and this is going to be the first bike that I actually go, okay, I'm just going to do the suspension, go all in on it and just try and get it the best, because I intend to keep this bike for a long time. And I'm like, okay, but inside me, I'm still thinking, I need a smaller bike, to run these routes and stuff like that, because you're going to still get into places, the KT and the 790, even on its lightest, 450. I think the Rottweiler one is like 430, 420, somewhere in there. I mean, they got the weight down on that 790, but it is still not a 500,
right.
weight wise.
Right.
So, the 500 won't go away. I mean, I think they feel the 690, I think, is more on the table for being ruled out because of the 790 and now the 890. But yeah,
I hope they always keep a big single, but I've heard those rumors too. Yeah. The 690 701 is just such a cool, it's kind of teetering now. Right? So the trend lately, and they don't sell hardly any of those 690 701s overseas. It's a U.S. thing, especially the 690.
Yeah.
I heard the percentages of how many they sell in the U.S. versus everywhere, all other points. And by far the 690 is like, they're keeping it going for the Americans. It seems like they're still buying it.
It's a US bike,
and I hope they do. It's definitely got its place there, a big single and well balanced now, single cylinder, nice, displacement. But I see them going that way. If they make a lighter weight, the 390, that's not there. But if they make the 790, 890 kind of overlappy, shifty thing, I was like, I'm kind of puzzled there. And they jumped that to that 890. I was kind of like, oh, something might happen to the 690 and 701 because they're going to fill something in there. Maybe it's something between the 390 and 790 being a parallel twin, or is it?
That's what I've kind of heard.
Who knows? Yeah, there's a lot of rumors in that area right now, which is, I still with that trellis frame and that just that look and the displacement, it fits a ninth an inch. Obviously, there's a lot of Americans who are buying the heck out of those 690s. They can't make enough, but it's. I hope they keep doing it, but yeah, we heard the rumors, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like this could be something, but. I'm banking on. I'm thinking somewhere in the 500 cc's and parallel is what I'm thinking it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's I'll go back. Talking about the big bikes at Dakar, I kind of miss now that everybody's got a capable big bore bike. Yeah. It sucks that they're. Now we know for sure because they're trying to limit the speeds that we will never see, the 1000 cc, the 1200 cc.
Oh, yeah.
We'll not see that again. I mean, these 450s are just as fast as those bikes back then anyway, but, it's like, we'll be on small bikes for a while and smaller. Oh, that'll suck if they make it even less, limited down to 350 cc's. Just to get rid of it.
That'd be the beginning of the end of bikes, maybe. I don't know. I hate to think that, but. Yeah. I mean, I just think I don't know. I mean, they're running out of, it seems like, where do they hold the events, it seems to be like trying here. So those, where they're at now in Saudi Arabia is like big, easy miles, so where do you slow them down? Navigation.
Yeah.
And hopefully that, turn and maybe more complicated, more challenging navigation that I'm hoping that's the route they're going to go to try and slow them down versus some kind of new rule that we scratch our heads on, like the tires. Like, really?
Yeah. Hey guys,
just making it more
last year we
dangerous.
gave you 6 tires. This year it's 4.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And you have to do this brand. And you have to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the knobs can only be 10 millimeters, right? The FIM standard. Yeah.
We're measuring them every day.
Every day.
Do it.
Correct. Yeah. Anything more than that and you're done. Yeah. I don't know. Or limit the rear sprocket. You can only run a 56 tooth rear sprocket or something. Right. They'll come up with something. They'll figure it out. So we've been talking a lot about the rally kit and all that stuff. So just kind of closing it up, but let's talk about MotoMinded. What are you guys up to? I mean, when we first talked, you were saying you were moving the shop around and doing some stuff.
Yeah. The Band-Aid is getting ripped this weekend. I got to be out by the March 31st.
Okay.
So we're fully in and functioning our new space. It's just getting the last of that's over there. I got to find a home for that. The last little bits, the tedious part of it's done. But we are operating our new space, and I love it. My team loves it. We have some breathing room. We spent a lot of time on getting just our layout more efficient. We've got this beautiful linear workflow from, our raw machines to raw parts to assembling and testing and then shipping. It all has this nice linear flow. And then we have this separate area with some beautiful light now for our design/R&D area. Just so excited about it. It's nice. We're in it operating. This is like the first couple of weeks that we're like fully in operating both our basically our office side and our production side. And it's just, we're all excited. It's just a place that it's back to, I just want to have a place that you walk in the door. It's like, yeah, let's do something cool. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I'm really excited about it. Yeah. Nice. So with that was a beautiful distraction and get out of that and gets back to something I've been trying to launch for 6 months now. We're doing a lot of testing and refining. I'm really excited about this new product. We're launching our own switch line. We're calling it the Bomber Bar Switch.
Okay.
And it's kind of inspired from some of my frustration of some of the stuff that's out there to kind of rally setups, having these wide, bulky switches. I wanted something bomber, as in the name, really tough, really strong, but also very narrow. It's not taking up the minimal amount of space on the bar. And we're going to start with a single and a dual switch options for KTMs and others. We're going to offer the switches like a builder version of switch. Just a couple wires. Here's a switch. Put it on your bar. Use it how you want. Have on, off, and momentary.
Okay.
And starting with some KTMs, and we'll do a beta line for beta bikes. Sherco's in dire need. Actually, I've been working on that too. They have a Sherco actually has, and that bike's gaining some popularity. Great platform of a bike, but for some reason, these crazy Frenchies, they integrated the map switch and the start in the throttle assembly. So the main housing, the aluminum housing of the throttle, where that the cable's coming in, winding around, right next to it, attached to it, part of that is the is the map switch and the start, and wouldn't be too terribly bad either. It saves a little room. It's not as wide as a separate switch. But they put a horrible little map switch on it that breaks usually after the first ride, and you don't know what map you're in. No. And so we're going to separate out a nice domino throttle tube that will sell as a kit, and then this map switch and a start, and then you can customize it too. Like I'd rather, for the folks that want to switch up stuff, I prefer to have start and kill together on the right, or I like my traditional KTM style, really dirt bike, start on one side and kill on the other. And we're going to do, we'll have all those combinations ready, and they'll be our typical thing of plug and ride. You're not going to be splicing any wires. You're going to plug it as a direct replacement. So you're going to unplug your stock switch, plug in our switch. It's a new plastic we've been testing for a while. As you know, a lot of our stuff is 3D printed. We're kind of paving the way with additive. The proper term is additive manufacturing. And we're working with this new polycarbonate with some carbon fiber infused in it, and it is bomber tough, and it looks beautiful. And with the switch, we're just pushing the limits of how thin we can make this plastic get really, really strong. And we're making it water. I want to say it's waterproof. We've been testing. We're soaking them in water for days, pull them out, making sure they function. We're testing them far beyond the limit of where they're at, and I'm giving them in the hands of some of these extreme enduro riders and letting them beat it up for a while. And we've been making all these tweaks and adjustments, and I'll ramble on about these for a while, but I'm really excited that now that we're moved in, I got the time to finish and launch this product
and actually get it in. Yeah. I'm super curious to see it. Cause there's, You're right about real estate, and especially like for me on the 790, I'm like, all right, I got the tower on it. I've got a road book holder that I picked up from RMS and Rally Motor Shop, and then now it's like, okay, well, I need to put a switch so I can advance it and retract, go back and forth on this road book. But then I look at my handlebars and I go, and there's no room. So I've
you still have to have the basic bike folks, and that's what we're focusing on. We're not trying to make rally switches. There are some excellent rally switches out there. Yeah. We're not getting in that game. These are basic bike functions.
Yeah, just something.
Kill, start, map, high, low.
Okay,
horn even. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's and I dabble a little bit in 3D printing, not anything like what you guys do, but I can share in the frustration of, bed leveling and finding the right material and then coming back when it's, 33 hours into a 33 and 1 minute hour print and it, breaks apart or whatever, but there's just so much that goes into doing that. Like, if anybody thinks that they're going to get into 3D printing and say, hey, yeah, I'm going to make this product and it's going to be bitchin', it's not. It takes a lot of work. So I can only imagine what you've gone through on that.
It's nice. I mean, the last 3 years we got the process down. We've got this polycarbonate alloy that's specific to us, and that's when you get into that, like you said, you got in that 3D printing world. The material is it. The material is 90% of it. Mm-hmm. Having a material that bonds well, holds up to strength, doesn't disintegrate after years down the road, and things like that. And you saw it like once I decided like this is it. We're back in 3D printed parts on dirt bikes with a lifetime warranty. You break it. Mm-hmm. In riding or race conditions, send us a photo. We'll send you a new part. We do have a crash replacement. If you bike versus tree or some other hard object, and you're honest with us and tell us it was a crash, mm-hmm. we could tell. We could definitely tell. Like, oops, that failed for some stupid reason. We're like, yeah, that meant a hard object pretty fast, But we have a generous crash replacement policy. It's a 40% discount on parts and get you back on the road. So being able to know that industry that well and our process. Knowing that we have the best out there that we could possibly do with the technology we have right now, and backing it with a warranty that says, "Yep, this is going to work on your dirt bike." It's been a hard. Those first couple of years were difficult. There's a lot of lessons learned, things like that. But we have a process now, and it's we got these machines that are easy to scale up and we're running them 3 shifts a day. So basically you come in the morning, pull parts off, inspect, see what, assess what orders we have. We're not just in time manufacturing. We do have stock. Like, nice. And if you jump on our website, we're best known for our LED kits. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately those LEDs, those nice LEDs made by Baja Designs are a little hard to get lately. And there's a big delay. We're shipping everything, but there's a big delay. Our parts we have, our products that we make in house, we have plenty of. But the LEDs themselves are pretty long turnaround. So again, back to that, we're not just in time manufacturing. We have stacks of brackets ready to bolt onto LEDs when they come in. Yeah. And then, we outsource, billet work. We outsource some of the plates we get, we'll get water jet cut or laser jet cut, depending on, the material strength needed, things like that with some of our plates for our rally kits and, our good friends at, billet racing products, BRP. Mm-hmm. They're just up the road from us, and they do the billet for us. So it's our designs, but they'll do the manufacturing of billet components for us. And I think we got a pretty good process on it. And when I started MotoMinded, I really kind of like, this is a design company. We're going to design really cool parts. Unfortunately, with where we went with when I started and scaling up and started 3D printing, I was like, and I still look to see if we could, offload the 3D printing production part of it, or do we spin that off as a separate company someday? Mm-hmm. But I really want to focus on designing. And that's, really the core, the heart of MotoMinded is designing new products. And the manufacturing and the 3D printing, we just happen to do it because we can't find anybody to do it, better, cheaper than us right now. Yeah. And I think the industry will keep up, it'll catch up soon, and we'll be able to go, oh yeah, XYZ company, make 50 of these, 100 of these, a week. Let's get rolling on this. But at this time, it's still a new growing industry, and we're watching the metal 3D printing too. So the polycarbonate the alloy that we're using is pretty, for what we're doing in 3D printing, is pretty cutting edge. But I'm definitely watching what's going on in metal sintering and and even some of the other new binding materials. So it's almost like makes like almost a ceramic part. Mm-hmm. Just watching where that technology is going. Pretty neat. We have some folks that we've reached out. We might get some stuff that is additive manufacturing, but then CNC later with metal. So we're talking with some people on that, doing some, not anything directly with the products that we have now, but just looking forward to, kind of pitching out some what ifs. So I'm constantly looking at where are these technologies going? What can we do to be ready for them? Or are they ready for, should we try this now? And it's interesting. It's a really exciting world that I'm working in. And I absolutely love my job. I love walking in every day and kind of meeting a new challenge. Yeah. It's been fun.
What are we going to make today?
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of it. We've got a new process. My guys, if they listen to this podcast, they're going to chuckle. But it was like, I was a mad scientist for a while. I was like, I come in with a new idea on Monday. I was like, yeah, we're going to launch this. Let's launch it Friday. Let's get it out Friday and do this, and have this thing like, they're like, whoa. Like, how are we going to do this? We need instructions. We need, and all this stuff. I was like, what this, just, we now have a very polished process from idea to doing. I mean, that's where these switches have taken 9 months for us to, from idea to, launching. I keep saying next week, but hopefully a week next Friday, hopefully we'll have the first ones launched. But every time I say that, something comes up or jinx us, or or we got to move our shop. There's some like little thing that came up or big thing, but it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun, and getting that, and working now with trying to balance it with being able to actually ride. It's been kind of fun. Where we have a track that we could ride near our shop, and employees come out and we try to ride on Saturday or Sunday together. It's really fun. It's a good time. I have such a great team. I'm so happy with what we have going on right now.
Yeah, and putting together a team is a difficult thing.
It is. And a small business like we're in, we're together a lot of time today. We're on top of each other and bouncing ideas, and each one of us has these talents that we're leveraging, and it's such a fun crew that we have right now. And then be able to spend some time outside the shop too, and want to, like, I see enough of these guys, going over here, but be able to go like, hey, what are we doing? Let's go ride let's go to the enduro track this Sunday, and it'll be fun. It's just I'm really happy with what MotoMinded is again. Yeah. It's great time for us.
And that's good. And that, and a lot of people don't understand it. I've seen it a couple times, and you totally just hit it. It's one thing to say, man, I would love to make riding motorcycles my living and job. But it's a lot of people may not realize that once it is your job and you have to pay the bills with it and you have to do this, it makes it it's a different animal. So I think, like where you're at, hey, we build products. Oh man, I guess I'm going to have to go out and try and break it. It's like,
it's been fun to be the crash tester. It's great. Yeah.
You get the fun part of it.
If you're lucky enough to catch me out on our trails, you'll probably see like 6 prototypes on my bike at any time, whether it be this or that, or, there's something, look close, you'll see some cool stuff. Yeah. But
hey, Chris,
that is a benefit. Yeah. To be able to go test this stuff today, and really, that is an exciting part of it. But also there was a couple of years, like I was not riding. It was not a fun time. And really it was that business part of it, trying to be the accountant and this and that and everything, and be able to offload that now. And as the company grows, just get to the point where we could enjoy our personal time more. That's been great. Cause you had it there, like you turned that passion into your work, and now good luck. Mm-hmm. Good luck with, actually wanting to go ride. And that is the challenge with small businesses for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to wear every hat, not a lot of hats. No, it's every hat.
Yeah. There's some, early interviews, like hiring employees, like you got to be a jack of all trades. You're going to be answering a phone. You're going to be over here, pulling a part off a 3D printer. Mm-hmm. You're going to be, putting something in a box, and you kind of, with the small company that we have right now, you kind of have to spend some time as part of it. You're going to spend time at each one. Mm-hmm. And just because you need to know that process and how that works, it's different. And we have a handful of designers, we have a handful of production guys, and we can all kind of help out, Mm-hmm. And it's been fun and challenging, and really it gets back to, it's like walk in the office like, okay, what challenge are we going to have today? Are we going to, is it a challenge of, some new tax law or, oh, God forbid, another COVID or so, like bring it on. If you're a small business owner that's, doing that, you have to be ready. Like, okay, what challenge are you going to throw at us today? We're going to conquer it and still be able to end the day and go have fun on their bike. I think that's living the dream there.
Yeah. And want to go have fun,
Yes.
Like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? It's riding time. It's 5:30 somewhere. I was just looking. So where are you guys based out of anyway? I just didn't see that.
Colorado Springs. So hour south of Denver. It's a high desert. So there are some, we do get some snow. This is the time of year, like this spring is kind of the time of year we're trying to, myself in particular, I'm like, I might head down to Arizona or New Mexico to ride because we have such weird weather this time of the year. Yeah. We get the most snow in our, what we call the Front Range, which is like Fort Collins, Denver, Colorado Springs, down to Pueblo, this line of ridge right at the range, we're right at the start of the mountains going west in Colorado. Mm-hmm. One side, one end of us, 20 miles one way, it looks like Kansas. The other side is, all the beautiful mountains. We're right up against that. So it really changes. The weather gets really interesting this time of the year. Nice. And the mountains have, started getting all the snow, back in October, but we really get a lot of our snow this time of the year. So it usually melts in a day or two, but it's frustrating. Like there are really nice high altitude trails. Yeah, it'll probably be June this year to we're riding it.
Oh, we can ride them.
Yeah, but we still can go, an hour east or a half hour south, and there's riding like private enduro stuff. Pay them $10 and go ride a pretty cool enduro loop or riding area, off road area. There is a state park that's not too far away that stays pretty snow free all year round. There might be some icy gotchas here and there, and some little ledgy spots, but yeah, we're pretty nice. It's a nice place to be able to ride pretty much all year without traveling a long way. I grew up in the Midwest and there's like no riding. It was all illegal or someone's private, or you spent your whole year to come out in Colorado and ride for a week. We're lucky to have this here that we can, basically where we're at, all points west, explore for some really cool terrain. Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's definitely on the list to go ride and do some stuff out there. I mean, I know Baja, but it's kind of easier sometimes to say, well, I've done that already. Now, what's next? Where's the next adventure going? So
there's a couple events this year. The TPA, the Trails Preservation Alliance, was the grassroots, they do a trail symposium. It's called the Colorado 600. Mm-hmm. Really cool. They're going to be doing that. It's always out of some epic place. It's like 6 days of beautiful riding led by pros like Scott Bright and other people like that. Mm-hmm. That's going to happen this year. Check it out. Trail Preservation Alliance, Colorado 600. Mm-hmm. We're going to do an event with a couple others like Eric at Wolfman helps up. We team up. We did it a couple years ago. We didn't do it last year with COVID, mm-hmm. but we're going to bring it back this year. It's called the Mountain Moto Meetup. Mm-hmm. It's all its presence is a Facebook group or a little Facebook page, but you look Mountain Moto Meetup. We're going to set the date soon. It's going to be in August this year, mm-hmm. and it's out of some of the epic riding out of Colorado. And there's a few of us that'll help you out. It's a little bit of trail education. It's not a full guided route. It's just kind of like, hey, we're going to gather here each night, talk about riding, and the next morning we're going to have some people, knowledgeable people, kind of send you out in your directions. Everything from big bikes to some of the most epic single track riding in Colorado.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so I'm just in the background, I meandered over to the Colorado 600 stuff from Colorado TPA.
Yep.
.org. Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, so that's some pretty cool stuff on this. Huh. Definitely.
They've been doing it a long time, and it's really neat. And you'll probably be able to ride with some, really interesting people led by, like I said, Scott Bright and Ed Cease are a couple of the trail leaders on some of the routes. Mm-hmm. There's big dual sport rides, more challenging single track stuff, everything in between. And folks like, there's some pros that show up there. Andrew Short shows up to it quite a bit just because he loves riding in Colorado in the summer. He shows up to that often. They usually look for some new face to be part of it. there's a big dinner one night, kind of talks about, it's a trail, it's the, Trails Preservation Alliance. So that the money that goes into this helps us keep trails open. They basically pays and funds lawyers to fight to keep, trails open in Colorado. And it's a very important kind of movement that we need, because there's a lot of people trying to close access to us. So we need to fight for our right to ride. Yeah.
You're scaring me. It's starting to sound like California.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got the challenges everywhere, but it is not. It is a very similar fight. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I can only imagine. I mean, it's interesting, but we'll see. We'll see how it progresses. But yeah, events like that would definitely help. I'm gonna throw. I mean, since we mentioned it, I'm definitely gonna throw a link on the podcast description of this, so people can find it and help kind of get the word out and all that. Yeah, because it's. I mean, to me, I see this going like, cool. There's an event I could go ride in Colorado. I don't know if they'll do. It'll work for big bikes, but whatever. I mean, I'm sure it could find something to get lost in over there. But,
big bike dual sport ride. Like I had my 790. I went out. But they have big dual sport loops to all the way to challenging single track and everything in between. Really fun. You'll see the best of Colorado out of that event. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm looks like I'm going to have to request some time off in September.
You got it.
Yeah. What is Crested Butte?
It's usually right around. They try to do it around the KTM Adventure Rally.
Okay.
So both of those didn't happen last year. Yeah, that's that. If they do it this year, I really hope they do. I think they've been challenged, with all the COVID stuff, but also, getting a resort. They usually do it at some resort that is, like a ski resort has been very popular that they do it out of. So they have big parking area, big event space, but also cool riding. Obviously ski resorts kind of some mountainous area. So they seem to do that. But I think, obviously with the world we've been in the last couple, year, that it's a bit challenging to book that and have it. So nothing's been announced this year for the Adventure Rally. But again, the TPA tries to put it right around there. So some of the guys just do it back to back, or they have it, kind of close. If you're going to travel out a long way, you might as well hit both. And,
Nice. Well, definitely on the list now for sure.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do it. Well, cool. Well, I really, really appreciate you taking the time and talking with us and getting some information out there. That's really cool with the thing to support Mason Klein on the rally kits that you're selling. So definitely drop a link in there and we'll see that out on Sunday. And then get the links and information and all that stuff up there as well for this the Trail Preservation Alliance as well. So
great, and thank you for inviting me. This is cool. I enjoy the other podcasts. Listen to all those guys from Matthew to Scott Bright and Alex on it and all the others. I haven't got through every one of yours, but I've been going through, and it is like I have it on in the shop. Like I'll be in my shop this weekend, and that's the thing I do is podcast. And I use Spotify, and I've been rolling through your stuff. It's pretty neat to be able to queue it up and listen to them, and I've been sharing it and telling people, hey, check out this podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Nice work. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. I think the next one, this last one that we did with Adam Shirt of the Vintage 1000, dude, that's some crazy stuff. You have to check that one out. It's I'm
gonna. I have it. That title just caught my eye right away. That's going on the list.
Yeah, it's we're gonna need some vintage bike parts, I'm sure. After that, but, I may actually have to stop doing this because it's like, all right, I'm talking to you, I'm thinking, man, I need a bike like Robbie's bike. I need that MotoMinded tower on it. I need this and I need that. And then I talked to him and I'm like, I wonder what kind of old beater I can find on Craigslist to go do this stuff. Right. These podcasts are just too expensive. Next week we're going to talk to Alex. It's like,
right, exactly.
This podcast brought to you in part by Visa.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm excited to hear and I was listening to Alex's and that you guys, talking about you going to visit him and everything. And I got a chance to visit him a couple of months ago, and it's a cool shop and be able to see that. And the work he does is just, we've been in the rally stuff together, and I've always made up some excuse to. And it's kind of like, I'm using everybody. I'm using this guy's suspension. I'll get Alex. I'm going to get it. And this on my 500, which I haven't even really released it much yet. He went through a KYB. He just set me up with the best suspension I've ridden to date. And it is so planted, so stable, so confidence building that I just didn't know it was possible. That guy has the touch. And it's, as he talked about, it's not, you get what you pay for, but I think bang for the buck, the suspension these days is worth every penny.
Yeah.
Kudos to him, and I'm excited for you getting it set up with his stuff. And you're getting the new stuff, right, that he's developing
for the
oh, that's cool. Yeah,
so
that's cool.
I'm looking forward. We went back and forth and did this and that. You could do, and I got to the point where it's like, okay, I just need to not try and be so scientific about it and really stop overthinking it and just let him do what he does. Try not, because I know suspension, but for cars, not for motorcycles. And I'm just like, okay, you know what? I give up. Like, all right, what's the deal? What do I need? And he goes,
there's black magic in there.
There is. It is.
So, and each guy has his own little touch and trick and everything. And it's just it's such a fascinating industry to be in.
It is. A couple clicks, a shim here, a shim there, and next thing you know, it's like you're riding somebody else's bike. So yeah.
One of the best selling points, so I could skip it in real quick, is like I was riding this latest suspension that he built for me. I was out riding some washes, and it was all a lot of side by sides in it. So I had that it had some long bends in this watch. It was a big wash and had these long bends, and that side by side chatter. You probably I don't know if you experience like those little washboards that they make are just unique. Yes. And I'm just railing in it riding, and I'm with a couple other guys, and they're just like, they stop and they're shaking their wrists and like, enough of this, let's ride somewhere else. Yeah. I'm like, what? Like it ate it up. I didn't even know, like visually I could see it, but I didn't feel it at all.
You didn't feel it on the bike,
didn't feel it on the bike. It was kind of the first time I realized it. I'm like, oh, this is next level stuff here. Cause I just dealt with it before. And then you get to that point, it's like, oh no, I didn't feel that at all. Like that little stuff, that stiction and everything. And to be able to hit, like I got it on, I've got, the 4.5 gallon tank. I've got my tower on it. I got my gear and everything and be able to have that stuff just eat it up and work in those different ways. When the tank is empty, there's a lot less weight in that thing and you're tired by then and still work at that point. It's just awesome. I'll get off that. It's just like, I could talk about it all day. It's like, I just really, suspension's been, I geek out it more and more lately, and I didn't know, I have not spent one dime on, tuning suspension until like 20, kind of when KTM, or I should say WP made some changes back around 2016, 17, 18, it was kind of like, oh no, this is not working at all. I got to pay someone to fix this. And that was kind of when I started spending my suspension. It just kind of worked. And I was at a different level, back when I was riding the bikes in 2008, 9, 10, 11 stuff. And just seeing where, some of the bikes lately, I was like, no, you have to get this work done. It's okay out of the box, but you really got to hire a professional to get suspension done anymore.
To get it knocked in.
Get knocked in. Even at 790, do you have what do you have that WP? Do you have just the base?
Yeah.
Explorer. Okay. You don't have that jump up, the Explorer Pro, is it?
No.
Is that the one?
No, and so I was warming up to that idea, and then I started talking to Alex about it, what's the setup, and then he said, I got something coming, hold on.
Yeah. When he says that, pay attention. I got something for you.
Well, yeah. And and it's like, you look at it and the numbers will be out and all of that stuff, but you're still going to be ahead. Even if you went with his full A kit, you're still ahead, because even if you're not getting Kashima and the WP Pro, and you're not getting the Diamond Like and all this stuff, and then you still spend all that money on WP, and then you still got to send it to Alex so he can valve it and spring it for you. Yeah. Where his kit is kind of already ready to go, and it's already all the top of the shelf stuff. So that's just like, okay, fine, I'll wait. And I am the worst for shiny object syndrome.
You're in trouble.
Yeah, it's horrible, and so I was like, okay, we're going to be patient, because, I've known Alex for a while. I met him through Baja Rally, and we hit it off, and we're always, back and forth when we were in the bivouacs and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, well, obviously he knows what he's doing. And obviously he built Conflict into this household name. And so all right, we're going to Conflict. We're going to get it done this way. And I had a lot of great people offer, and help me kind of open the door to other suspension shops. And I just, in the end, I was like, you know what, I just got to go with my gut. And it, I said, okay, let's talk to Alex. So
cool.
I'm excited. Cool. It should be good.
That's neat.
We'll see. We will see. But cool. Well, I will let you go. I think you're an hour ahead of me, so it's getting late.
Yeah, I'm up late anyway. It's okay. This is worth it. This is fun. Thanks for inviting me.
No, I appreciate you coming on, and we will. I'm thinking I got some more episodes and stuff like that, but I might. I guess I can do multiple people on an episode, so we might do some panel stuff here coming soon. Just figure out what we can do.
I would love to do that.
Yeah,
I would love to do that.
To get some people back on and new people on it. So yeah. Well, cool. All righty, sir. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks again. Chat soon.
Thanks.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. Whew. Hour 45 minutes on that one. Awesome talking to Chris from MotoMinded and talking about the rally kits and some of the rally stuff going on. And I'm absolutely stoked. This Trails Preservation Alliance looks really, really cool. And I like the idea that it's right around that time of the KTM Adventure Rally. I've been wanting to go to that. And last year when I was warming up to the idea, this one COVID thing hit, and, now the world's upside down. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to look it up. Check out the description. I'm going to put more information on there for what I'm looking at here on the computer screen. Also put links to Chris's company, MotoMinded. A lot of you guys have probably heard of it. If you've got dirt bikes, they build a lot of different stuff. It's not just the rally kit. There's different mounts and things and accessories for the bikes. Their torch helmet light kit. They do the light replacement. So for your KTM to put stuff into the masks, like Baja Designs LED lights and stuff like that. So a lot of really, really cool products. And like I said, I started watching this when it was back in 3D printing, where I was like, cool, 3D printing. So they're doing a lot of really, really good stuff. So check out his website. The link is in the description for the podcast. And I think we are going to wrap it up. I want to stay under the 2-hour mark, but hope everybody's having a good week. It is going to be, this is Friday, but we're actually going to see this or hear this. You'll be hearing it on Sunday. So if you like the podcast, and if you haven't heard any of the other last episodes, we've got the Vintage 1000 on the last episode. That was awesome. We've got episodes from Alex Martins from Conflict Motorsports, as well as Scott Bright. We have got Rally Moto Shop with Matthew Glade. So there's a lot of cool information on that. If you guys are getting started in the world of Rally Raid, there's a lot of good information that we're trying to get out to you guys. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you've got some value out of this podcast. Share it with your friends. Follow us on Chasing Waypoints _official on Instagram, and also on the Facebook under Chasing Waypoints. You're going to see this podcast shared there with the links for Spotify and Apple. We are available on Google and a couple of others, but you're more than welcome to tune in on those and drop a comment there. Questions or something like that. I'm sure Chris will be checking it out, and you guys can ask questions if you have anything about the MotoMinded products and what's going on for the future for them. Technical questions, whatever, I'm sure he'll be willing to lend a hand. So anyway, hope everything is good with you guys. We will see you guys for the next episode.